Fitzroy, CRR News and Clues. Let's bounce. It's definitely a rough one. The state of Texas must have finally reached their goal of having every single road in the state under construction. Because I've already passed through 3 construction zones on one road. But that's minor compared to everything else. Please continue to remember and pray for and do whatever possible to help support all the survivors of Hurricane Helene, especially in Appalachia, in western North Carolina, and eastern Tennessee. People are still struggling, predominantly because of nonsense county and state policies saying they can't have certain things on land and this and that. People so highly uneducated in leadership that they think a stupid summer tent is a safer and healthier shelter than taking a wood frame storage building, adding insulation and sheetrock and electrical wiring and turning that into a little bunk house for people to keep freezing to death. Or they can even have a propane line run through the wall to a heater with a propane bottle outside or whatever. Thankfully, they're getting hot tents, gradually more and more, which tent on some of them are on a raised platform, some are not. There's a large tent that's built out of canvas instead of that old polyester bull crap. I've coated cotton canvas so it's more waterproof and a little thicker and more windproof. And then they're built to have a small wood stove in there that's meant special for those as well, so there's some actual heat. Of course, if they're directly on the ground, that can be beneficial as well as problematic at the same time. The ground's too moist, that causes problems, especially if from mold. Some heat will come up from the ground, but when everything around is frozen, there's not a lot of heat coming up. Then you got not only more fire devastation in California under strange situations, but nothing is corrected in Lahaina, Maui yet. And before that occurred, most people don't even realize there was major devastation from fires in part of Greece. After Maui, there was Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Too many situations that allowed those to be worse. Too many times law enforcement told to block certain areas, which block people in the path of fires, because for some reason folks can't think for themselves anymore and say, oh, there's smoke over there, but there's no smoke behind my ass. Maybe since I have no more communication, I should help these people get the hell out of here. The level of ignorance today is just outstanding, and some of it is chosen lack of education. People don't want to inform themselves and insist on indoctrinating themselves from the Tell You vision and the programming. Excuse me, I need a drink. Oh. tea with elderberry juice there. Got sinuses all clogged up from working through broom weed half the day yesterday, cutting mesquite, old hard, dry, slow-growing mesquites off of the ground. Trying to make a path to get to an old pen to take down some panels to use elsewhere. Fencing. A lot of news was out a while back about the raving lunatic that took a Ford Lightning electric truck and terrorized people and took a bunch of lives and had IEDs prepared to cause more devastation with. Some, apparently the son of some immigrants or something that had served in the U.S. military in the past and come under the, what would you call it, under the idealism of Islamic jihadism. His brother even included that he had apparently come into some indoctrination of that. You know, people think that the stuff out of the Quran is accurate, but you really gotta wonder, you know, in other much older texts, it includes that taking your own life is a sin. Just like taking someone else's life for no reason is a sin. Folks that believe what they want, that doesn't make it true. And folks can drive just as stupid as they want, that doesn't make it safe. But the other individual that used a Tesla cybertruck, which is supposedly armor plated and apparently got bulletproof glass, maybe too, which I'm sure it's still not as stout as military vehicles, but had propane and fireworks and gas cans in the back of it. Claimed that he set it off himself. Interesting. Because not only did the explosion start in the cab, but it started either from the passenger floorboard, passenger seat, or center console, which seems to be the area where his phone was. And whoever was actually in that cab apparently had a lead hole knocked through his head from a gas-charged hole punch. Some people call it a smoke hole. I think by now you know what I'm talking about. What was it, a 50 caliber Desert Eagle cannon, which is rather uncommon for military, not necessarily for veterans, which he was, but if that's who was in there. But supposedly he set that off to cause harm, but if he was going to do that, why the heck would he have it all contained inside of a truck that wouldn't blast all the bits, but instead would contain the explosion? my personal opinion, the only way that he was the right person they think it was, and that he did take his own life, is that he must have opened a propane bottle, cracked the valves open on the propane bottles before getting to that location, let it fill up with propane, and then somehow use his thumb on the trigger from down with his hand on the console and stared down that barrel before pulling that trigger. But there was no muzzle flash seen, there was just an explosion. But the gases, the ignited gases from the powder, put off a small, only visible in the dark explosion that will ignite other gases around it. And that could have been a way to have taken his own life and set the whole thing off without any other triggering device. Has everyone forgotten that over a decade ago, the IDF or other agencies in Israel set up to fill orders for cell phones and two-way radios for Hezbollah through shell companies, and designed those things to be triggered to explode when it came time that they became under full attack, and so they had to put a stop to the terrorists. And has everyone forgotten how many lithium-ion batteries in cell phones have gone bad and heated up and busted phones or blown up in people's hands or pockets? I will not assume that his cell phone that was only burnt on one side just spontaneously combusted to go along with everything else in that situation. But I will not forget there is the possibility that device was hacked. In a statement that he supposedly sent an email out to a number of people that could get information out to the public, and apparently may have sent it to Sean Ryan, definitely sent it to another individual who contacted and was interviewed on Sean Ryan. Statement sounds like it might have been his own instead of the BS statement put out by legacy lamestream media claiming, oh, we got his statement off of his social media, which was completely different than that email. Just a little something to continue to question and think about, folks. If a man says he's trying to get to Mexico, why would he destroy himself in Las Vegas, Nevada? But he did get folks' attention no matter what. He was not liberal. His ex-wife may have been, and maybe that's why she took off. Maybe that's one of them Looney Tunes that divorced her husband just because he voted for freedom of his family and voted for his family not to starve to death and lose their home because of Bidenomics and Bidenflation. Like these raving lunatics indoctrinated little bimbos that took the lives of their own fathers or husbands and families. Oh, well, you motivated my concert, so I'm going to lose my head and take your life. Were they full of boosters, too? They get them good old COVID pokes in the arm? I imagine. mRNA gene therapy to edit the DNA, folks. We tried to warn you. How damn many funerals have I attended lately? And others have I missed? And the symptoms that people had within the months before their demise sounds mighty close to the injuries caused by them damn pokes. They wanted a poke so bad they should have done like Gus on Gone with the Wind and cut the cards. These United States of America, have been under attack from China for decades through multiple different means, and through other countries for a shorter time period through multiple different means, predominantly cyber attack and narcotics sent into the country. And these people are stupid enough to take the crap. They're stupid enough to think that the dadgum government should be handing out everything to them. Where the hell do they think that government check come from? My damn pocket. And every one of yours that bothers to work and pay taxes. I run my ass off. And I can make ends meet. But I'm living on food I bought years ago because now it costs anywhere between 2 and 10 times more. Why? Has nothing to do with the production. Has nothing to do with the farmer. They're starving too. Their production costs have doubled and tripled, and yet they're expected to sell their product for the same damn price. All these people pissing and moaning. Oh, it's January and that dude that other people voted for in November made the egg prices go up. No, dumbass. Jackwagon Joe administration through the FDA and CDC and all these other corrupt three-letter organizations implemented the destruction of millions of laying hens. Do you know what a laying hen is, people? Those of you listening do, but them assholes don't. They think eggs just pop into a freaking carton. They think milk just hops right into a freaking carton or a plastic jug. It just poof appears. This ain't Star Trek, people. You don't push a button and all of a sudden smack in your face. It takes a damn cow or a chicken. Got to get it out of that big old cow tit. Got to milk that udder. Guess what? They culled the damn herds of milk cows within the last few years. Just like they culled the beef cattle and the hogs. Oh, they got bird flu. Excuse me, asshole. Until people started messing with viruses, it was impossible for a damn bovine or any animal with hooves to get an avian influenza. And so is it impossible for a human being to get it. Yeah, I said it. Frickin' possible. But what did the last omnibus bill they tried to choke down our throats in December include? Funding for gain-of-function research, which is illegal and which supposedly hasn't happened in this country. It supposedly wasn't funded in Ukraine and Wuhan, China, and North Carolina University, and Fort Detrick, Maryland, under the control and observation of whom? Dr. Fraud himself, Dr. Death, the same man that set up the so-called vaccines for HIV and AIDS. The one who injected a bunch of kids to supposedly prevent it, but instead caused it. The one who was trying to wipe out all the homosexual men by creating that garbage. And who is exposed many times, especially in 2020. Yeah, need to say it that time. And Judy Mikovits went on every platform that would listen and exposed that asshole after she had her 10-year damn court tape over her mouth removed. Is any of the stuff we're seeing going on today a coincidence? I'm going to say it bluntly, hell to the no. Nothing is new under the sun. It's written. It is written in biblical text. It's probably written in other texts, including the Torah, of course, which is the Old Testament of the Christian scriptures. I'm going to quit taking your time for the few of you that are still listening. I got a phone call just after 3 a.m. Central from Western Alberta, Canada, where it was just after 2 a.m. A friend was still up, still gathering information that something strange is going on over Egypt. Now, it don't surprise me that Egypt would tell U.S. military that they need to stay out of Egyptian airspace. We don't really have a whole lot of business in everybody else's airspace, just like frickin' Chinese spy balloons, however frickin' many came across Canada and United States, and maybe one even a little bit across Mexico. Ain't got no business putting that shit here. None at all. And old Jackwagon Joe, oh, well, it's no problem. We don't know that it's carrying any form of explosive, so it's okay. We think it's just collecting weather data. When it's directed in a pass specifically over every nuclear site, every military base, and I believe also some of our uranium-based nuclear power plants. So, yeah. But, yeah, my Canadian friend called me and informed me that strange stuff is going on around Egypt. Frankly, the entire region around the Mediterranean is strange stuff. And the concern was for Europe. Well, that's actually Africa, but I'm pretty sure our aircraft are, especially the surveillance craft, are over the entire Mediterranean. Pray, folks, firstly for discernment, guidance, and truth in all things. Pray for forgiveness for ourselves and our countries, our leaders. Pray for guidance for our leaders, for them to either be removed or woke up and to become righteous. brakes for those friends of mine who enjoy hearing that turbo whine. Hot tea. Please make sure you got all your necessities. Look out for your neighbors and your family. Do what you can to help one another. Work with your communities. Try to get to know your neighbors. And by now, any farmers that folks may need to work with in the near future, you should already know them. Same with ranchers. Help them produce food for everybody in exchange for some of that food. Remember that most farmers and ranchers are not raising gardens. Their food, groceries also come from the store. Most people don't know how to properly slaughter and process their own meats, or how to properly preserve them. If things destabilize, people are dumb, they'll go out and butcher a big animal and waste most of it. And it won't take long, there'll be nothing but rats left. Rats and damn grasshoppers and locusts and the crickets that ploush and everybody wants to feed us. I'd rather have a freaking locust. They don't crawl around in little nasty, filthy corners like roaches. Learn everything you can, folks. Please. And I would ask if you could just pass on some prayers for friends and family of mine. There's folks in some deep financial struggles and cars rolled over 3 times and people losing family members and all kind of stuff. Other folks sick, especially anybody who took them stupid pokes in the arm. People's bodies falling apart on them, and others just worn out from constant work and not being able to take good care of themselves. I pray Elohim Yahweh bless and protect you all in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Thank you, folks. Thank you.